these individual judges are overstepping. If what you're essentially saying is that the president, who is the commander-in-chief, cannot determine when we are being invaded. An individual district court judge is going to decide that? No, thank you.
Can I just ask a simple question? Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war
or
not?
The president, in my opinion.
No.
If we're being invaded, I want the commander-in-chief to know.
Scott, no. It's actually the Congress.
You're asking if we're being invaded.
I'm asking.
You want to call Congress and see if we're being invaded?
I'm asking a basic constitutional
We'll be taken
question.
over before they ever get to the committee.
Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war? The answer is Congress.
I'm talking about if we're being
So
invaded.
when the president says we're at war, he has to
show we're actively at war,
and
not
really
a
what he needs to do is go to Congress.
Well, you guys discuss it in committee. We'll let in another 20 minutes.
Wait a second, though. I thought the genius of our system was that we weren't beholden to one guy's opinion. That the genius of the American system of government was that we had 3 co-equal branches, and in those co-equal branches, decisions were made about how we go about doing things. Now, we want to tear that to shreds so that we can kowtow to one guy's opinion. Then we are in a monarchy. We're being ruled.
What's the distinction between strikes and whether the United States is actually at war with an entity or a nation? And there is a distinction. Now, nobody is saying here Trump can't deport people because, Barack Obama deported a lot of people.
And that's
Sochi.
absolutely.
He deported a lot of people, and he did so based on the existing law. It is possible to do.
It's not an applicable law.
That's right. Go ahead. As a lawyer, I would like to answer
there's a determination that law has to be used at wartime when there's an invasion.
But war's different than it was in 1812.
No, we cannot use colloquialisms to say, we're generally at war.
The Houthis are not a country, and yet we're bombing them.
But let's be clear about this. Nobody is saying
invaded
that Trump doesn't have the ability to deport people. He has the ability to deport people, and he should, right? There was a lot of people coming in that should not be here. He has the right to do that. But he's trying to use this act to get around due process. And the court is saying this act does not apply. They're not telling him not to deport. They're saying use the process that's in place because this act does not apply.
As much bureaucracy and red tape as possible to keep
it's not bureaucracy.
It's not red tape. It's the law.
What we're trying to do is use the law. The law. I mean, look, is it such a big problem to say you can do things, but you have to do them lawfully? There's a process.
We think this is lawful,
but it's not.
No, but the court just said it's not.
One stupid judge, and I want to see what the rest of them say.
It's stupid.
Why is that stupid? Because
I guess
he
we have to
disagrees
remind
with
everybody here that
Donald
Trump appointed this judge.
I don't care.
Okay?
Again,
so this is a Trump-appointed judge.
He's not infallible. Judges make stupid decisions all the time.
Well, okay. How about this? So you say the judge is stupid. How do we know that? How do we know that the president is stupid?
I'm sure that's your opinion.
Well, it certainly is.
But he won the election.
So what does that mean?
I don't think anybody is stupid. I think all 3 branches have the right to operate the way they want. I think the president of the United States has the right to operate based on his opinion because he's voted in. But the judicial branch has the right to interpret the meaning of the law the way they see it. That's their right. And to make proof of requirement.
This is a key question. What if another group of people, say not illegal aliens, but just some other group from somewhere else, actually came to the shores of the United States, not a nation, but say a group, any kind of group, and actually did come ashore and try to invade, I don't know what else you would call it, the United States? Would you run to court and ask a federal judge if the president of the United States can we defend the nation now? Can we stop the? It is. They're coming across.
You were also generalizing here. You were talking about. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you, Scott.
But what's the difference? What's the difference?
There will be a declaration of war, and then the act would
if there are gang members and if they are killing or raping women in this country, they should absolutely be deported, and there should be deportation orders, and there should be a process, and there is a process to deport them. You are saying that every person that is here illegally is raping people, and that is not true. You're saying they're all part of these gangs. They're invading our country. They're doing all these things.
You're certainly associating them.
They're not all violent, but they are all criminal.
They're not all violent. And everybody, whether they are 2 years old or whether they are 90 years old and have been in our country the entire time, they deserve a process. The criminals.
I'm sorry. What process did they follow to get here? The process of breaking our laws? laws?
Well, because there is a law, there are laws in order, and there are deportation proceedings to get these people out of our country.
Listen how long you want this to last.
The 99-year-old who is here
It'll
did
last
not
forever.
invade our country.